Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to everybody. This is the La Liga show, and I'm your host for the evening, Abhinav. And I'm really delighted that you guys have joined in. So we have started our broadcast in 3 panels right now. It's on the official Facebook page of Real Madrid Fan Club. It's also on YouTube by the same name, and also it's being aired in Nepal Sports Online. So we have multiple platforms to be streaming right now, and we have very distinguished guests with us today. And I would straightly go into the introductions because we have lots and lots of things to talk about. I'm really excited to get all of them today. And I'm really thankful to Real Madrid Fan Clubs Nepal and the administration team, also to NG Classico for supporting us in this broadcast. So I would quickly like to introduce them. So firstly, I would like to introduce somebody who has been in the sporting field for such a long time. He was joining the BBC team when there was, I think in 1996, he started in the sport journalism field, the fraternity, and he has also been one of the, popular faces in football, the one we can always see in 10 sports, whether it be Champions League or La Liga or let be in Europa League, we always see him. And he's also one of my idols. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to our broadcast, Mr. Joe Morrison.
Namaste. Great to see you. Great to see you, Abhi. How are you?
I'm all good. How have you been, and how is it like in Dubai right now? I think it's going through the same pandemic,
Hot.
We have been
hot. And,
right.
Very humid. It's about 80% humidity and about 48 degrees or something like that. So everyone's got to stay. By the way, Abhi, where are you? You look like you're broadcasting in a lift or something.
Yeah, I am actually in my studio, but I'm not in a lift. I'm in a room right now, and I'm in Nepal. I'm living in Kathmandu, and I'm one of the commentators in Nepal who is doing commentaries of football and other things as well. I'm really glad to have you on our show. And how have you been? And how has it been in Dubai? How is the situation of the pandemic? Let's say the situation because of the new normal. How have you been there?
It's been the same for everyone, obviously, Abhi. It's been a tough situation, especially if you're a character like me who likes to be out and about and meeting people. I'm a very social animal, as many people are, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this are very social animals as well. So the lockdown for all of us has forced us to sit inside, stay at home. That's the downside, Abhi. The upside, of course, is that when sport returned and when sport came back in the Liga, in the Premier League, in the Champions League, all returned, it gave us something to get excited about and passionate about again. And I think the most important thing that I've learned, and I think many of the football fans that are watching this have learned, is that we miss live sport. We miss it.
Obviously, I think everybody misses the actual experience of how football is watched, and I think everybody is going through the same thing. And I think we're pretty much, lucky to have football back due to all these circumstances. And let's hope the situation gets better in the coming days.
You want to know how desperate it's been for me, Abhi? It's been so bad that I was even missing WWE wrestling, and that's not even a sport.
Of course. It has been the situation right now in every part of the world, and I hope everybody gets back their, precious football and every other sports back. We hope that. Thank you for being the part of the show. So I'd like to introduce my other guest for today. Talking about my other guest, he has been one of the most iconic sporting personalities in Nepal regarding sports media as well as other media as well. He has been directing one of the most famous shows in Nepal, including Ko Bancha Crorepati, Roadies, and also Kripa. And he has been one of the most successful person in television broadcasting right now. And he has been doing lots of other things, innovating a lot of other television shows as well. So I would like to welcome my very beloved brother, older brother, I would have to say, Mr. Aman Adhikary. Aman, welcome to the show. How have you been? We are pretty much closer than every other guest we have right here. I have the opportunity, but I have not got the opportunity to meet you, right? So how have you been there? How has been life?
Well, social distancing, you and me seem to be having social distancing right now. But I just came back from work. Actually, life is not normal. This is the new normal, I guess, for all of us, for the whole world. Life has to go on, and we shall work. We have to work. So I'm just back from work, actually, brother.
Okay, I think you're exhausted exhausted as well because of lots of things you've been doing right now, producing a lot of shows, and I can see some of the shows coming shortly, and we're really, really excited to see those shows. Let's be normal about that. So I have to get through another guest. I'd like to introduce my other guest for today. Talking about him, he's been one of the brightest faces of the broadcasting industry, especially in the OTT department. We have to say he has been the faces of the new generation who has come through in this digital transition of broadcasting, and he has been the face of the South Asian broadcasting industry in the OTT panel. I would like to welcome Mr. Manas Gera. Welcome to the broadcast, Manas.
Thank you, Abhinav. That was one of the kindest introductions I've ever heard. That was brilliant. How are you?
Obviously, it's. I think we're lots of the youths in Nepal are also following you, and I think we are very, very much excited to have you in this show tonight, and I think it's been quite a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Abhinav. It's been awesome being here, man. How are you?
Right. So how have you been? How is it like in India right now? I think the situations are not as much, satisfactory, but how have you been coping up?
It's been okay, man. So I'm in Mumbai right now, and in Mumbai it's a little tough. So it's a very different way of life. But right now it's pouring outside, and yeah, I'm just trying to go about things normally. It's a bit tough, but I still get in my football, and there's Champions League and Europa League to keep me distracted. So it's all pretty good, man. But I do miss talking to you guys in the La Liga. I do miss Joe, Baji, Kevin. That's definitely missed right now.
Right. Obviously, it's a new normal, and we have to be used to it. It's quite different for us. So thank you for being the part of the show. So it's quite a pleasure as well. I would like to introduce another guest of mine for today. He is the secretary of the Real Madrid fan club Nepal, and he's currently living in Australia. So straight from Australia, we have the secretary. I would like to welcome Mr. Abinash Mainali. Welcome to our broadcast.
Thank you, Abhinav. It's a pleasure to be here, especially having our wonderful guest here, Aman Joe. Thank you so much. I just sent a message to him on Instagram, and he instantly replied. I think that was one of the best moments, because when I was in Nepal back in January, I think I watched the show and I very much loved it. And we have Manas here as well. Manas, thank you so much for featuring us live for the first time. I mean, you messaged in this very page, the Real Madrid fan club Nepal, and we got the chance to get featured in Facebook La Liga Watch. It was one of the best moments. I think Vishal Panta, the president, Rajan Shrestha, that day, we were like just over the moon. And our another guest, Aman Dai, what to tell you? I just want to tell you that I grew up watching you. To be honest, I mean, I started following football since like my childhood. I'm just 23, and I've been admiring you. I've been idolizing you, and it's a great honor for me. And I would like to thank you, everyone, for being here, especially from Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal. And our members are really excited to have you, because I just made a post yesterday saying we are going to be live with these amazing people, and the response we got, I mean, it was fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Right. I think it's been quite a pleasure having everybody having here this evening. It's quite a pleasure. And I think things like these have not happened for quite a while, and it's quite a history for us as well, especially for the Real Madrid fans. And I would like to start with the discussion now. Firstly, I would like to go with Joe here. I think he's pretty much ready also. Joe, I think the pandemic has stricken the world pretty hard, and the world of football has been pretty much affected by it. How do you think, how much do you think it has been affected?
The world of football, or Real Madrid in particular?
Let's say the world of football, or let's say the world of sports in general.
The world of football, obviously, the first thing that's changed is the calendar. And I think we have to give big thanks to UEFA, because they made the decision very early to move the UEFA Championships, the European Championships, to next summer, 2021. And what that allowed was, it allowed all of the leagues the option of finishing their seasons. And I think that was important because not only the fans' experience and fans wanting to see their team win the title. I mean, I think you're a Liverpool fan, aren't you? So can you imagine the season being cancelled? And that was a
I would
possibility.
have
one stage.
suicided maybe. I would have gone to suicide maybe. Right?
Exactly. So if seasons had been cancelled, and I don't agree with what they did in, it was Holland, wasn't it? The Dutch Eredivisie, I think, cancelled, and the French League, I think, cancelled, didn't they? Their seasons. So I think it was the correct decision to finish out the season. So number one was the experience. You know, we love our football, and fans, it's important for fans to see out the season and finish the season. The second and probably more important aspect, Abby, was the financial aspect of it. Not all clubs are rich, and the clubs in the lower half or the bottom half of leagues around Europe, they rely on that TV money. It's so important for them. So for the season's finishing, it allowed them to get that TV revenue and the revenue not to be cut. I mean, they were talking at one stage, and I can only speak for La Liga, if the season had been cancelled when it first shut down in March, they would have lost 1 billion. You know, that money would have had to be rebated back to the TV companies. That's a huge amount of money. And I know that we'll talk more about this a little bit later, Abby, but, you know, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they've got big debts. So that money is important. And that's just talking about two of the big boys, not the smaller clubs.
Obviously, it has quite struck hard the world of football or any other sport in that regard. I think it's been shaken, and we have to recover a lot in that regard as well. So the same question goes to you, Aman. I think Nepal has, you know, equally been affected. Nepalese football and Nepalese sports has been equally affected by the pandemic going on. How do you think the progress is going on? Let's say, on how much has it been affected in the Nepali sports?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part. How much has it?
Yes, sir. How much has it affected the world of sport the sporting industry in Nepal?
Well, I think the world of sport has been explained by Joe. That's particularly it. Countries like us, it's we actually speak out the reality. We live in a third world country, and things do not go as according to plan. Not always at all. So we've been having problems. Even the domestic league hasn't been regular at all in my playing days as well as right now. I hope it improves. But this particular pandemic and the situation, I think a little bit of depression has set into the minds of people and people involved in sports as well. I can see that. I meet them personally, I talk to them personally, and that usually comes through it. But I hope this particular, I think the Nepali national team preparing, I can see a little bit of enthusiasm, but still a lot to be done. And I think this particular pandemic has hit hard on Nepalese sports. And well, I don't know when we are going to really bounce back. But it's going to take a lot of time, brother. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of planning. I hope there's going to be big plans ahead. I really hope so.
Hope it goes through a little bit early, I think. And obviously, it's been really different for us. We are living in the new normal right now. And I hope that we get back to the actual normal we used to be, right? So, Manas, what do you think about that? The situation we are having, especially India is having a lot of difficulties on that regard. And talking about the Indian sports fraternity was really doing good, especially in football. We can see lots of development and lots of progress in that department. So, how much do you think it has affected the Indian sports in general?
So when it comes to fans, right? So the lack of fans has definitely impacted the experience of watching football. But if you ask me, I think Joe explained very well what impact it has had on football in general. But in terms of content, right? So in terms of content that we have been able to produce during the lockdown, actually Joe, me, and the team, we had a really good time talking to you fans when you were sitting at home. And I don't think that would have been possible had the lockdown not been there. So this is like a small glimmer of hope that we can see in this lockdown. We got a chance to talk to, I'm talking from my perspective, right? So the content that we could create, we got to talk to fans of Real Madrid, Nepal. We got to talk to Barcelona fans as well from Nepal. And this might not have been exactly possible had we all still been in Spain, had things been exactly normal. So how it's impacted me, it's actually been in terms of content, it's been a bit positive because I got to talk to you guys. I'm actually here possibly because of the lockdown and the type of content that we created together with you, with the FPV Nepal and all the 5 different countries that we created work with. So yeah, I think it's been fairly okay from my standpoint.
I hope it is. And obviously, it has quite been different as well. Abinash, you're staying in Australia right now. Australia is also going through one of the tides of pandemic. They have been pretty much affected by that. So how is the situation there, and how much do you think it is affected in, let's say, in the Department of Sports in Australia? How much do you think it has really, really affected?
Melbourne has been in lockdown since like 2-3 weeks, and it's going to continue for like 6 more weeks. And the cases were normal back in the days, but recently the cases has been increasing, and I think it's almost 300 new cases per day. And the government here is taking strict precautions that they are not letting anyone out after 8 o'clock. I think it's a curfew situation, let's say, and then you can't go out after 8 o'clock, and you need a special permission. If you are only working in like special need, or if you are providing special care, then only you can go outside. Otherwise, you can't. You simply have to stay inside. But overall, watching the sports as well, I think a footy here is very popular. So footy has been affected greatly. They are just doing it right now in Perth, not in Melbourne, and especially without fans. I think the game is nothing, let's say nothing, but the club won't sustain. There was a news that 4 or 5 clubs might go bankrupt, and they might not recover from that. And especially NFL is also really popular here, and also soccer, which is soccer or football, let's say, which is growing and growing in this country. And the lack of fans in the stadium, and I think it is going to hit hard to everyone, especially in sports, and also not only in Australia, but everywhere in the world. And hopefully this situation will be sorted out soon.
Obviously, yeah, we hope that too as well. And I think everybody is going through the same situation right now, and then we have to get back as soon as possible. That is only possible if we work together, or let's say try to be safe together, and that is only going to be the solution. There's no other solution to that. So, putting this pandemic thing aside, the world of football, especially if we talk about this, the Asian football, since everybody here is working on that regard or related with that regard. The Asian football was trying to catch up to that of the European football, and lots of progress we could see whether be it in the broadcasting sector, whether be it in the field, lots of development we could see in Asian football. And I think we were really, really going in a good way. So, talking about the comparisons with the international football, let's say with the Western football, how much have we been catching up with international football, or let's say the race we have with the rest of the world? The question is to you, Joe, first. How do you think about it? The competition between, or let's say, trying to catch up with the world. How has it been for Asian football?
Oh, that is a fabulous question, Abhi. And it's a question that I get asked, not a lot, but on a regular basis. And it boils my blood. It really does, because everyone talks about progress. And there is absolutely no doubt that South Asian football is making progress. Absolutely no doubt. However, so is the rest of the world, Abhi. So you can't make progress at the same pace that the rest of the world makes progress. You think that countries in Latin America or in the CONCACAF or in Europe or in Southeast Asia, do you think they are standing still in their progress? They are also making progress. So it's about making progress twice as fast. So it really, really boils my blood, particularly when I read interviews or I see people talking about the Indian Super League, for example. Has the Indian Super League improved Indian football? Yes, without a question of a doubt, it's made it better. But the fact of the matter is it's progressing too slowly for me. It needs more pace. Everything needs to be moving quicker. The talent search, the talent hunt, developing young academies and baby leagues needs to be faster. They're sitting on decisions, Abhi, for months and years, instead of saying that decision needs to happen now because we need to move forward at a much faster pace. So it's not about progress, I hope you understand, because there is progress. It's about the progress happening at twice the speed of what it's currently happening. And that's just not good enough as far as I'm concerned.
Right. I think if we take the example of the Indian football, it's been one of the fastest growing leagues in the world, and it has been really trying to catch up. But the question is, have they really been trying to? Have they really catch up to the required amount, the required rate? That has been the question. What do you think about it, Manas? Because you're pretty much related to that matter as well. So how much do you think, the progress, or let's say the development aspect has been there, especially in the South Asian region?
So as Joe said, right, so if we talk about ISL, right, I think ISL has done a great job for putting the Indian football name out there. And in addition to that, if I talk from a personal point of view, it's done a good job giving employment to young football fans from my country. Because I myself worked in ISL from a digital marketing point of view. I was also the MC of Mumbai City FC for the last season. I was the guy shouting on the camera, the substitutes, the stoppage time, and Ganpati Papa Moria, I was cheering the crowd on. So from that point of view, I think Indian football with ISL has done good. It's put its name out there. However, as you rightly mentioned, I don't think we made progress in the right places that Indian football needs to make. There is a lot that needs to be done. Like, our coaches need to be better coached. And La Liga has been doing a good job of that. La Liga started a La Liga set of schools, which is spread out all over the country. And they don't just train kids, they're training coaches to be better coaches. And I think that is the next step that Indian football needs to take, tackling the root of Indian football.
Correct. I think that has been the progress that Indian football has made in, let's say, in the past decade, and really, really exciting to see that, the amount of effort they have put in, the amount of investment they have put in. That's quite amazing, actually. Also talking about the Nepalese football industry, or whether it be in the broadcasting industry or be it in the field, it has also taken some, steps, I guess. And I think it would be appropriate to ask Amandai about it. Amandai, how do you think about the progress of Nepalese football in that regard? Let's say catching up to the world, catching up to the, the development our neighboring countries have put in. How do you think it has been catching up?
It's going to be super difficult. Joe stated over there that the pace needs to be a little bit quicker. For Nepal, quick is not enough. That's what I believe. Quick is still not enough. That means we need to really rush if we want to catch up with the rest of the world. And especially seeing how India is progressing with the league structure and the development in the youth field as well, and academies as well, and the interest in football rising in India, it means that Nepal needs to step up. Now, well, what I believe personally is like Nepal is I don't know, the players of Nepal are like better equipped personally to play football than the Indian players. That's what I believe. That's what we've been believing for the past decades and decades. And though being a small country, we've been able to produce some good teams time and again. But India being a larger country, a bigger facility, it has always been us trying to catch up to them. But now I see that India is a little bit step ahead of us. So for us, we need to learn the lesson. We need to, find a way to have the league regularly, find a way to find new players coming into the team, and maybe have the basics right. Then only we can target for the future. I don't think we have the basics right. And I believe Joe is going to agree there with me, because it all starts from the very early age, from the small academies of 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. Then you can actually start with the under 16 national team, under 18 national team. You just cannot just pick up one small kid and think that he's going to just explore to the world and score for your country for the 10 years in a row. That can't happen. So we need to start from the very basic.
Aman, I mean, what I would add to that, and Aman is absolutely right. The age is so important. Catching them young, very young, is so important. I've seen so many times when I've been to Nepal, or whether I've been to Bhutan, for example, kids are being picked up at, say, for 16, 17 years old is the first time that they're being coached. The first time. It's too late. It's 16, 17. Way too late. They need to be getting some sort of, not necessarily intensive coaching, but they certainly need some guidance at 8, 9, 10 years old. So, and I've got one solution, and I've had this solution for 10 years, 15 years that I've been traveling across South Asia. First and foremost, create the hero, because if you create the hero, everything else follows. I was speaking to Jamal Bhuyan, who's the captain, obviously, of the Bangladeshi national team. There's a lot of talk at the moment about him possibly entering the Indian Super League as a player next year. Can you imagine Biraj? Can you imagine Barrage playing in the Indian Super League? He'd become a hero. The marketing that comes with that, he'd become a hero for the whole of Nepal. And with that, all of the kids want to become Barrage. Every single one of us sitting here had a poster or a picture on their wall of their sporting hero, no matter who it was, no matter what country they were from, no matter what football club they played for. So you wanted to become that player. And that is the most important thing. Create the hero. Get the likes of Barrage and Jamal Bhuyan from Bangladesh into the Indian Super League. Because, by the way, it would help the Indian Super League as well.
Definitely. And I agree with Joe. But sadly, what happened was the hero in Nepal came for cricket, not for football in Sandeep Lamithani.
Yeah, right. So he has been quite doing wonders there as well, right? But I think the football department also deserves somebody to represent from Nepal as well. If we are talking about India, then I think Manas would have to say something about it. Manas, you've been pretty much following the ISL. I think it's one of the growing industries in the world regarding football. So what do you think about the idea? How much do you agree or disagree with the idea, Manas?
With the idea of the Indian Super League?
Right. So if anybody joins from Nepal to ISL, it would definitely complement the both sides, especially, one of the iconic players. If they join ISL, then I think it's going to be good for both ends, I guess. So what do you think about it? If somebody joins from Nepal in ISL, how much of an impact would it be in both the contexts?
It would have a huge impact. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, so in La Liga as well, in Ibar, there is a Japanese player, Inoue. And because of him, the attention that La Liga is getting in that country has increased tenfold, probably. So in the same way, I personally would love to see diversity from within South Asia itself reaching ISL. And that actually question makes me wonder, why have we not done that already? We've targeted quite a few European players, some retired legends. So yeah, I think the next step should be getting the best talent from South Asia, possibly. Jamal Bhuyan, I'd love to see him in ISL. And then I would probably go back to Mumbai City FC and become an MC, again, screaming for Jamal Bhuyan on the mic if he comes to ISL. I'd love to see these guys back.
Okay. I think it's pretty much obvious that it's going to be benefiting for both the sides. I think we have some questions here from the fans, and we can see the questions popping up in the screen. I think this question is for Amandai. Amandai has been asked by Swasti Sapkota. She says Amandai knows a lot about Nepali football than anybody, and he has clearly elaborated about how we can develop football. It's pretty much obvious, and also it's been quite obvious that Nepal has trying to take the steps for the development, but there have been some difficulties or hindrances that has been stopping Nepal to catch up with the rest of the world. Let's say rest of the Asian countries have also been really, really good in that regard. What do you think about it, Amandai? Because you've been in the field for such a long time, and lots of people want to know it from you. How much development has it been since? I think you were the person who were commentating the 1999 South Asian Games as well. From then to now, how much has it developed? Or how much has it changed the complexion of Nepali football?
Well, I believe the complexion hasn't much changed at all. What has happened is Nepal, I don't know, maybe because we're a country of mountain, we never have this stable terrain, right? Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. It's never been stable at all. It's never been stable, right? For the first time we saw football live on television was the third SAF game, Joe. It was in Calcutta. I think 1983 was the time.
Wow.
And that was a long time ago. And during that time, I remember the match because my brother was the goalkeeper of Nepal, right, at that time. And India beat Nepal in the final 1-0. The goal was scored in the 89th minute. It was a tough match. So during that time, Nepal had a hero. His name was Mani Shah, right? We all, as a kid, wanted to be Mani Shah. I wanted to be him. I wanted to carry his boots, even because he played with my brother and I knew him personally. So I was like, if I touch his boots, I'm going to get some gifts from him. He was so good. But all the time, every time in Nepal, some kind of political hindrance has always been there. We've known it from inside out. But that particular thing, reaching the final of the third SAF game, winning the first SAF game football tournament, it never kind of escalated. As I said earlier, our development always has been up and down. up and down. It's never been stable. We need stability. That's what we need. A stable association. I'm not saying anything bad about Barcelona, particularly in this particular pace, but seeing how Barcelona was outmastered by Bayern Munich and Real Madrid in the league as well, we can see and we have to know that the success comes from the happiness of the president to the grass cutter of that particular club. So it has to all come together. Only one person or one president or one player cannot win anything. The whole club wins, a whole club loses. It's how it works.
Of course, it works in a unit, I guess, and I think everybody is equally responsible or equally viable for the development. And I think we have to work hand in hand in, let's say, in Nepali sports. We have to work hand in hand. Joe, I think you've been working in the sports industry for quite a time, and you have lots of experience for you can share with us for people like us. How did you start being in the television industry? Starting as a media personality. How did it start for you?
It started by accident, actually. I used to work in a news kiosk, and every morning, I think it's the same probably in Nepal, a place that sells cigarettes, newspapers, magazines, whatever, a little news shop. And every morning, a guy used to come in who worked at the BBC. He was a commentator at the BBC, a guy called George Bailey, or Whispering George was his nickname. And we used to talk football for a long time as he came in to collect these newspapers every morning. And he basically said, look, you've got a really good voice. You should come to the BBC. But I didn't have the courage then. I didn't think it was for me. I didn't think I was good enough. And he just asked me every couple of months for about 2 years before I eventually said, yes, okay, I'll do it then. So that's kind of how I started. And then I went into the BBC, worked part-time, did all the things that everybody else has to do, making tea, going to...
Yeah, right. We can agree with that. Even Amanda agrees with that.
Nobody in the world makes a cup of chai as good as me. My chai is...
Someday we have to know that. Someday we have to experience that as well.
Perfect chai. So he got me into the BBC, and the rest is history, just progressed from there. So I mean, look, you may be asking about, how to do it. I can't say how to do it because there's a huge slice of luck involved. But the one thing I will say is you have to have resilience and consistency, resilience, whatever you want to call it. And Aman will say exactly the same thing with regards to his career path. It's no good being good for one show. You have to deliver every single show, every week, every month, every year. And we're talking football here. Players are exactly the same. The greatest players in history. Who would you pick as your biggest, greatest names in terms of consistency over a period of time? It would be people like Ryan Giggs, for example, because he did it every year for 20 years. He didn't have a good year and a bad year. People ask me the question. I know you're a Liverpool fan. People ask me the question about Mo Salah. Yeah, great. But come and ask me the same question in 10 years from now, and then we'll make a judgment on Mo Salah. So it's about consistency.
Of course, it is about the long run, and obviously it's about consistency and stability in times to come. And I think Manas has also been one of the leading faces in the digital broadcasting department. He has been wondrous about it. And
the coolest faces. Look at it.
I can tell there are lots of followers of Manas in Nepal.
I'm wearing a cap, Abhi, because I'm embarrassed about my hair. If I had his hair,
I agree with that. Yeah, of course. So, Manas, how did you get into this line? I think you were a football fanatic since childhood, I guess. But how did it all start? Gelling up with the media, and how did it begin with you?
So since I graduated, right? So I graduated from business, and all the career decisions I made have been driven by football. So my first job after graduating was in a digital marketing space, as I mentioned, and I went to the agency that used to handle Mumbai City FC's work. And after Mumbai City FC left that agency, I myself left that agency as well. And I did a bunch of things in the field of football. I always wanted to be a presenter. Like when I used to watch people like Joe Joe was my idol as well. Joe is rather.
What?
And
You need to get better heroes, man. You need to get a better hero.
But I have to agree with that. Joe was also my idol. Growing up, we used to see C2K a lot. Champions League games and all. And we really thought, how can I be like him? How can I be like presenting like him? And I think it's been the pathway. Yeah.
that was the thing. Yeah, I wanted to be a sports presenter, so I did a bunch of things in the space of football. So as I said, I did digital marketing. Then once I left my company, I was freelancing. I wrote for Sportskeeda. I also did acting. I did a bit of acting as well in Mumbai. If you're living in Mumbai, you have to become an actor for some part of your life. and
That's
then
one of the
and then eventually I got one project with Sony for the 2018 Football World Cup, and that is when I went to the Sony office, and that was the first time I actually bumped into Joe Morrison. And this happened it was completely coincidental. It was a break for the both of us, and we met at the water cooler, and I was awestruck because I've been watching Joe Morrison since I've grown up, right? And he told me, he gave me a good amount of advice about my work, and it was insane. And from there, eventually Facebook happened, and there was a small audition there as well. And that's how the gig with La Liga happened. So it's been a long journey, yeah. So,
right.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, Joe. So yeah, it was a long journey from events. Yeah, it was I was a digital marketer, I was a writer, I was an actor. I also did a bit of YouTube with my friends. Then I was an MC with Mumbai City FC. So I did a lot of work within the space of football until I met Joe Morrison and then La Liga and Facebook.
One thing, I'm going to embarrass Manas here, so be prepared. But it is important. It is important. This the one thing that I love about Manas in particular is, and it's a big buzzword at the moment in our industry, and that is authentic. And the reason I say that is I'm seeing more and more, especially on TV now, presenters who, so take football for example, they don't have a deep love for the game. I ask certain presenters about, have you ever been to a local football match? And they haven't. So if you are going on screen and talking about how much you love football, excuse me, I have to tell you, there's more to loving football than just watching the Champions League final or the World Cup final every few years. If you really love football, and Manas does, and that's why Manas is part of our project, you've all seen Budgie, you've all seen Kevin Campbell, obviously they've played the game. Budgie and myself, when we're together and even, on our own, I'll go watch local games here in the UAE, in the United Arab Emirates. And I don't need to do that. I just enjoy watching live football. So, it's not about posting on social media what clothes you're wearing. It's about the game, if that's what your subject is. So if you really have a passion and you're authentic about what you do, fans pick up on that. The audience can see that. You cannot fake it. You can't con them into loving football when you don't actually love football.
Right. Talking about authenticity, we can, relate it to Aman as well. He comes from a footballing background as well. In fact, he was a player in his professional days, and I think it's been a long journey for Aman from being the part of the field to the part of the screen. That has been quite. It's wondrous. It's quite amazing, and people like us, young people like us, youngsters like us, look up to Aman.
And me, young people like me as well.
Many people like us also follow you, and like Aman. In Nepal, Aman is really an inspirational person. Just to add up to this, right? And it's quite amazing that Aman has been through so much. Can you tell us a little bit of that story, Aman?
Well,
how has been the journey?
Well, I started playing in A Division. We call it A Division in Nepal, Said Smart League. When I was 16, right? I signed my first contract for Friends Club when I was 16 years old, and I went on to play the A Division for 10 years. So I retired at the age of 26 because that's what we do in Nepal, right? Because there's not much of future in football, but. What happened was while playing football at the top of the league, I continued my studies. Well, future just playing by football was not great during my time as well. So 1998 was the year that everything changed. I was still playing A Division football, and Nepal Television decides to do the live show of the 1998 World Cup, and they needed someone to actually do all the analysis and talk about the players and stats and this and that. And they were looking for someone who was playing A Division League as well as who knew the game. So I think the plus point of me was like I could speak English as well. So that was a big plus point. So it all started back in 1998. Though I was still playing in the A Division League, I think since 1998, every World Cup till now, I have hosted my own show, and you guys have already seen it, right? I've not like every World Cup I do the football analysis. I do that. So Joe, it started with me from 1998, and I think you were around the same time as well when things started rolling for you as well. That's what I believe, isn't it?
I was a little bit later. My first World Cup was the first World Cup I did in South Asia was 2014, but the first World Cup that I actually covered was 2010. Was South Africa was the first World Cup I covered. So a little bit after that, you know, I wasn't born in 1998. Alan.
So I wonder how you know. How old is Joe right now? I have to calculate that matter. And anyway, I think not being born and not witnessing that success, Manas and I would agree to that. You know, we are really late in that regard. We are,
Abhi, I'll stop you there. We'll just quickly go around everyone. No one's going to say the age. What was the first World Cup you remember watching? What was your first World Cup you remember watching, Abhi?
2002, I can clearly remember the TV screen when I was watching Germany versus Brazil in the final. Also the Turkey game I was watching. So if I clearly remember, not in a bleak memory, in a clear memory, if I can remember, then I've watched clearly the 2002 World Cup. I have some memories of the 2002 World Cup, yeah. So
what about you, Aman?
Are you going to ask me that?
Yes, I am.
So secretly, he's trying to find the age.
Nobody mentions age. Just what was the first World Cup that you remember watching?
Okay, the first World Cup that we Nepalese, not just me, but we Nepalese ever got to watch was 1986 when Maradona won the World Cup, right? So that was the first World Cup that Nepal ever got to see the live thing in television. So 1986, and I like earlier I showed you this cup, Leicester City. I'm a big fan, right? So 1986, Maradona goes on to win the World Cup. So I was trying to find out like there are so many other players as well who are good, maybe, right? So then I found out Michael Laudrup, who was then playing for Denmark. So I became a huge fan of Michael Laudrup. I started following him, but that particular World Cup, Gary Lineker was the highest scorer of England. So he was playing for Leicester City. Then that's how I became fan of
the reason. That's the reason.
As you said, heroism. That was the thing I followed. Gary Lineker from then onwards.
Come on, Manas.
I think being a Newcastle fan, it is really hurting for Joe. Listening
I'll tell you mine in a minute, but Manas first.
Right. Abinash, yes, right.
Mine would have to be the 2002 World Cup. Same as Abhinav. Watching Ronaldinho play was my highlight, and I think that's when we all started watching. Me and Abhinav at least started watching.
Ronaldinho, past David Seaman that time. It was really one of the memories we had, And it was such a delightful goal that was.
What about you, Abinash?
So you can see this behind my on the background. So it was 2006 World Cup. Actually, the great Zinedine Zidane inspired me to become a Real Madrid fan, and ever since then, I've been a huge supporter of Real Madrid. And what to say, he has been a blessing for us. As a player or as a coach, thanks to him, we won our 34th La Liga. And ever since that, my dad was actually a huge fan of Zinedine Zidane. And he used to show me that matches where Zinedine Zidane used to play. But the problem was I was born in Sarlai, which is actually the rural part in Nepal. And there wasn't any television available in that time. So the only matches we could watch was the World Cup. So all I watched was Zinedine Zidane and the way he headbutted against the Italian player. And,
I was waiting for that.
that got me, and I just, just started following him. And then later on, there hasn't been any blessing for me ever since then, because I have been a huge Real Madrid fan. And to talk with you people, actually, to share my story, who I idolized as a kid, to come here and talk about my journey. I mean, it's been a great journey. Thanks to the great Zinedine Zidane.
Of course,
Okay.
He's been working wonders.
Joe's turn now.
So here's the moment of truth. It was 1982, Spain 82 was my first World Cup that I watched, and I watched it. My family, my parents, and myself, we were camping, and we were staying at some camping park. And I remember running to. They had a building which was the center. It had a little shop in it, and it had a cafeteria, a little cafe in it, and it had an old TV in the corner. With not a great quality picture, but Spain '82 was the very first World Cup that I remember, that I saw. So there you go. That's how old.
You know what, Joe? I need to tell you one thing. 1982 World Cup, I listened to it live on radio because we did not have television at that. Yes, because we did not have TV at that time in Nepal. No TV at all. So it was the first time I ever heard the name of Diego Maradona, 1982, on radio.
I mean, so obviously, we've just done a bit of fun here, but the moral of all of this comes back to how important, number one, television is, and number two, our broadcast. It doesn't matter what form it's in, and obviously we're so lucky now. And all of those who are watching this, Abby, are also lucky because they have so much more opportunity to watch. They can watch on their mobile phones, which most of our audience watch on, mobile phones and tablets. But also as well, I think that the moral of the story is, as we heard Abinash saying there, the heroes that come out of a Champions League, La Liga, a World Cup, a European Championships are what makes young kids, ourselves included, go on to either play the game and in some cases like Aman, actually play the game professionally. So that's how important this is.
Exactly. So I think the more we can almost agree that the world of broadcasting has inspired a lot of youngsters to be like them, or let's say to live that moment. And I think it has only spread the love of the game more. And I think it's really doing good for the South Asian countries as well. And we have been privileged enough to be linked with the European football, especially with La Liga. And in English football as well, we have been really, really fortunate that we have been provided the opportunity that we can see them, idolize them, and love football as much. Amanda agrees with that, I guess.
Ekdam, very true. What I wanted to tell Joe was that, and Manas, was that the very first times when we watched football in television. So if 1986 was the first time that Nepali audience, as an audience, we ever watched football. So the first football league that Nepali people ever got to see was Bundesliga. So that was the first football league that we got to see in Nepal. And there was a Korean player called Cha Bum-kun, right? So because he was an Asian guy playing in a German league at that time, so he was an inspiration for us that we could make it to Bundesliga as well, right? And the other tournament that we ever got to see was the FA Cup. The program was called the Road to Wembley because the final was held in Wembley. So it was Road to Wembley. And that's how we got to know the English players and the German players. So that was it. That was football for us. And just the World Cup. That was it. Rest of the things we just read it in the newspapers and magazines. So that was it, Joe.
Yeah, and Aman, you're absolutely right. And it comes back to the earlier point about seeing the likes of a Barrage in the Indian Super League. That's the next step. Or a Jamal, representing and carrying the flag of Bangladesh into the Indian Super League and making it almost like a South Asian Super League. That's why those inspirational players would be so important to the development of young talent in Nepal and Bangladesh, just to name two countries. Obviously, there's many more.
Right. I think it's really having quite an impact in that regard as well. So, talking about the transitions football is going through, especially in the broadcasting department, we can see the world of broadcasting being digitalized, or let's say we can agree that it is, being transferred more to the OTT department. Or let's say in that regard, we have really been, looking up to. And Manas is one person who has been working in that department a lot, and he has a lot of experience in that subject in particular. So talking about the transition from FTA to OTT, let's say, if we can put it technically, from transition from FTA to OTT, how has it been and how has it been progressing in the South Asian countries? How do you take it as, Manas?
So initially has definitely been resistance, and I've discussed this with Joe as well. There was resistance. A lot of the comments on our show, we want this on TV. But over time, especially in the last year where I've been here, I have witnessed all of them having a real good time on OTT. And if we just think about ourselves, our lives have become a bit faster than it was earlier. OTT has given us a chance to watch football in such a in a way more convenient fashion, right? And OTT has not just made it more convenient, but it has made it more interactive as well. So this conversation that we're having right now is mainly because of La Liga. La Liga earlier used to be featured on Sony, and now it's come on Facebook. And it has been tremendous for us because I got a chance to talk to you, I got a chance to talk to RMFC Nepal. So that is one thing. The interaction has been brilliant. The convenience has been brilliant. And I'm pretty sure this is the future. Soon enough, we will be like, what? There was football on TV before?
Right. I think Joey can explain a lot about it because he has seen the transition from going in that way. You have worked in BBC as well, and you are working for the La Liga broadcasting, which is also being aired on Facebook. I think it's the broadcasting is with the Facebook Watch, I guess.
Correct.
How has been the transition, Joe, and how do you take it as?
I think the biggest thing, and Manas has already mentioned this, the biggest thing for me and the most enjoyable aspect for me personally has been the interactivity, that I can now communicate directly with the fans. And I've always thought for many years, and not just when this project happened with Facebook, but I've always thought for many years, there are so many knowledgeable fans out there and with their opinions. Because at the end of the day, the game is just about opinions, except if you're playing it, the game is just about opinions. And you can go all over the world, even in the professional football sphere. One manager thinks that this player is good and another manager thinks that this player is useless. It's just opinions. So why not have the opinions of the fans into the show with us? So the way I look at it is, we have our two guests. Unfortunately, I have the worst two pundits on the planet, Budgie and Kevin. I mean, I just wish we had more budget to get more quality, but I'm stuck with Budgie and Kevin. But no, on a serious note, why not? And the way this is how I visualize it in my head. I have another guest on the show, and that guest is the audience. And our turnaround time for comments, and you're getting a lot of comments in now, is approximately between 3 to 6 seconds. Now, most shows that feature comments, a lot of the comments are sent either pre-prepared, so sometimes before they go live. Some of them are filtered, and they spend 20 minutes sitting there before they actually go on air. Our comments are live, instantaneous, and there's a quick turnaround. So that's the USP. And of course, the other bit as well is on Facebook, it's free to watch. So I like free things.
Obviously, the more free, the more better, right? So, Aman, I think we can talk about Nepalese football's transition in that regard, or let's say the transition of that subject in Nepali sport as well. You've been one of the persons who have trying to put that paradigm shift, moving towards the OTT department. We have, I think, as much as I've known, you have lots of projects coming up in that regard as well. So how do you see the transition of the television industry to that of the OTT, or let's say the social media industry?
Yeah, as a presenter, as Joe said and Manas said, previously I had always missed talking to the fans, right? Now they are directly in contact. We can contact them through Viber or Facebook or Messenger, anything. They can come live on television, on whatever program that we are doing. They can actually send in their opinion, and we can listen to them, right? Have a little bit of an argument on that, and that brings a lot of fun. And it's always good to have a different opinion, right? It's always good. But I'm a little bit of old-fashioned guy. But so whenever I want to watch football, I cannot watch it on a small mobile phone, brother. I just
Okay.
cannot do that. I need the biggest screen possible. I need to have a beer in my hand. I need to shout at the players. That's how I watch football. That's how I love watching football. But this interaction thing, right? Like we tried it in the World Cup as well, Avi, as you know as well, right? So
Yes, thank.
Nepali television has less technical facility than what the Indian television or Star Sports and Ten Sports has. But still, we tried our best to have the interaction with our audience. And I think that's the biggest achievement right now in this particular generation. That's how we are all together right now.
Right. Obviously, I think it's quite been astonishing how quickly the things have changed. And I think we're quite surprised about that matter as well. But there's a debate. Let's say the debate between the bigger screen and the smaller screen. Lots of people have spoken about it, and there have been some astonishing changes in the sporting world, the broadcasting world. We can see if we talk about the English Premier League, there have been lots of requests, lots of efforts being put in for it to be broadcasted in the rather in the OTT department than that of the FTA department. And I think it has its own pros and cons, but in the longer run, I think there will be lots of things changing. What do you think about it, Joe? Is it right that we shift in such a fast pace? What do you think about it?
If you're asking me about the pace of change, the quicker the better, as far as I'm concerned. I'm old school as well, as you gathered from my first World Cup being 1982. I'm old school like Amanda, and basically, yes, I like it on the big screen as well. However, I'm not in the majority. The majority of people are stuck on the train, stuck in traffic, and the only screen they might have is their mobile phone or a tablet.
Right.
So, and then you take it into the home environment. Well, obviously the family culture comes into that. Dad has control of the remote, and he decides that at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, he's watching whatever he wants to watch. So the young generation, they only have a mobile phone or a tablet with which to have a bit more independence to watch the football, for example. So it's brilliant. You think about the speed of change. What is it? 15 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Mark Zuckerberg was sitting in his pajamas in a Harvard dorm room. Look how quickly everything has changed. And Here we are, there's 5 of us, of which one of us is in Australia, and none of us are operating on professional broadcast equipment. We're all operating on our own personal devices. So if you think about the experience as it is right now, and it's not perfect, fast forward 5 years, Abby, and have a think about what it'll be like then. So, it's a phenomenal pace of change, and I'm glad for the pace of change because it's given more freedom to the user, and the user is the most important person. For a long time, and Aman will certainly back me up on this, for a long time, the powers that be in television dictated to the viewer what the viewer could get and what the viewer could consume and what the viewer could watch and how the viewer experience should be. Now that power is being reversed, and the viewers are deciding what they want to watch, when they want to watch it, how they want to watch it. So it's a change in the dynamic, which I think is a good change, by the way.
Right.
Very true. Very true.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something because in RMFCN, like Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal, we have tried to bring like all the fans possible in a pre-match session, just like you guys do in Facebook Live show. We just try to bring fans in a Facebook Live session via this stream, and what we try to do is we try to listen to them and what they think about the match. But if you say like before there was a TV, it wasn't possible to go there and talk about that, because if I had a chance to actually go and talk about the match, I could have known much more about the football as in this sport in general, but I didn't get that opportunity. And here, what we are trying to do in Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal is, before every match these days, we are trying to bring young fans They might be 16, they might be 15, they might be of any age. They come here, they share their experience, and then they are very, very excited to come and share their knowledge about the game. They talk about the prediction for their match, and I think that's the way to go. And especially when I watch the Facebook Watch live, because you can just tune it anytime you want. You are on the go, you can tune it. You can watch it anytime, especially for people like me in Australia, living here in Australia. I'm working like anytime. And then when I'm coming back home, I don't have to wait for the TV to broadcast the match. I can just get my Facebook on, and then there is the match. I love my team, and I love to watch the team. And that's how it goes, I think.
There's something I'd like to add, Abby, to what Abinash is saying there. And that is, we are obviously just, here we're amongst a bunch of Real Madrid fans, and obviously our shows just focus on Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. But what if you want to watch one of the other teams in La Liga? Now, on traditional TV, they have a limited amount of time because it's one channel. They have a limited amount of space. So Serie A may be playing that night. Juventus may be on. Inter Milan, AC Milan may be playing. They may have the rights to something else, such as Formula One, or there's a tennis championship. So if you were a team like Sevilla or any of the teams, go all the way down, Getafe's, Osasuna's of this world, and you might say, who wants to watch Getafe? But the fact of the matter is there's always one weirdo in every country that wants to watch one of the small teams. That's a fact of life.
Right.
But in all seriousness, the point is it gives those clubs the freedom to broadcast their games to the world where normally they wouldn't get that opportunity, because only Barcelona and Real Madrid would be shown on traditional TV. And I think that's the difference. It's giving the user more choice. And I've always said, and used this example, when you go into a supermarket, you're not forced to take, this product or that product. You have the choice. You have the choice of picking your type of milk. And if you want one of the other kinds, you can go get it as well. So it's giving the users the ultimate experience.
I think it is pretty much true that it has broadened the opportunities, or let's say the clusters we have in fan bases, that has quite been increased in that matter as well. And I think Manas agrees with that matter as well, because he's been working with the Mumbai City team as well. And the fan culture there, I think it's really growing really fast. And I think we can see the effects on through various means, especially by social media. We can see that the effects we can see. So, talking about the relationship between the broadcasting and fan culture, how much do you see it has been changing in India, and relating it with the other countries of South Asia?
Oh, is it for me? Okay, so how it has changed, OTT has changed. So RMFC Nepal is a prime example of how much OTT has changed the experience for a viewer. The thing that we do with the ways that we interact and engage with our fans I'm sitting in Mumbai, and I was talking to Vishal from Kathmandu, and I'm sitting here, I'm talking to my friend Arsalan, who is a part of Real Madrid Fan Club Pakistan. Then I'm talking to somebody from Sri Lanka. Then I'm talking to somebody from probably Bangladesh as well. So I think this is one thing that OTT has helped us in. Definitely the engagement is something that, this is how we can elaborate on that. Probably never possible before OTT came into the game, and this is what I personally love about it. And I'm like, we had some of our best time at Facebook Watch, interacting with you guys, getting your fan opinions. And in specific Nepal fan club, I don't know how fond you are of the Barcelona fan club in Nepal as well, but the Real Madrid fan club in Nepal, and as well as the Barcelona fan club in Nepal, the content that we got from you guys, I used to ask for like 10 to 12 pieces of content, like videos, but I used to get double that, and that just shows the enthusiasm and the willingness that you guys have shown to be with us on the OTT platform, and that's what we love the most about this.
I think it's quite remarkable, and the broadcast itself is a prime example. All thanks to Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal. They have been organizing this, and I've been given the opportunity to be the host today. And all thank you to all the teams, especially to Vishal, who is sitting in the background right now, is orchestrating everything. Vishal has been the man to look at. And also, today is his birthday today, his 29th birthday today. So I'd like to wish him. Right, so happy birthday to Vishal. And right, so I think
what was Vishal's first World Cup? And then if he's lying about his age. What was
Okay, so that can be one of the tests, you can put to find somebody age. And I think I'm going to use that trick in coming days also. That can be quite successful, I guess, right? So I think it's been quite lovely having you all in this broadcast. But according to my sources, according to my informants here, I'm almost to the end of the show. So even though I don't want to leave this really beautiful group right now, but I have time restrictions.
You're
yeah. No, the time they ask.
I go 90 minutes, me. I go the full 90 minutes. I'm like,
okay, let's. I think, I can. It's giving me the green light. I can pretty much continue, right? So, talking about the fan bases we have in Nepal, or let's say in other South Asian countries, it's quite interesting that how the growth has been, especially in India. We can talk about, let's say we can give credit, a lot of credit to ISL, that they have built their own clusters, especially the advertisement has been so good regarding that aspect, that it has been really been having results, I think, given good results to that matter. And I think it's working the same way in Nepal as well. Amandai, I think you are pretty much informed about how things are going in Nepal, especially talking about the professional football, the fan bases we have. And I think you have witnessed lots of different stages of fan culture in Nepal also. So what is your take on it?
I have witnessed a lot, man. As I agree with Joe, like when I was a kid, I was always going to the stadium, watching the matches. And during those days, I'm talking about, okay, let me reveal my age first. I'm 46, right?
Okay,
you look great.
That's quite young, actually. Yeah.
So during, when I was a kid, that one particular stadium that we have in Nepal is the Dasar Stadium, right? So all the league matches used to be held there. Now, when I was watching the match and the rivalry between two teams, right? So this particular fan base, these guys would come from one side of the stadium. There would be another bunch of guys coming in from the other part of the stadium. And these rivals, not the players, but the fans, they used to gather in the middle and they used to have such big fights just because they supported the opponent, right? And it used to escalate so much. And I used to enjoy the fights, man. I used to enjoy the fights because it was one of the fun part of the rivalry, right?
Right. That's one part, yeah.
Yeah. But well, what I'm trying to tell you is, like, I've seen the highs of the Nepalese fans for Nepalese football at that particular time. But the dynamics shifted after that particular accident that happened in the Dasar Stadium, that sad incident where I think we nearly lost about 60 people on one particular football match, right? So after that, people stopped coming to the stadium. But the dynamics started changing when you guys started coming up. Now, again, the people went back to the stadium. They started supporting the national team. But now what has to change? As in ISL, I can see lots of local people coming in to support their local teams. That's what needs to happen in Nepal. Local people need to support their local teams. That's how you develop everything. And that's what we are lacking right now. That's what needs to change.
I pretty much agree with that.
And you know what? I'll add to this. Aman is absolutely correct, and I am so passionate about this that it bugs me. It really does bug me. You are not a true football fan in my eyes, and I have no respect for you if you only support Liverpool in a Champions League final, but you do not go and watch your national team. It's a disgrace if you do not go and watch your national side, but you support Liverpool, or you love Mo Salah, but you can't even tell me the name of the national team captain. You understand? It's
exactly, yes. It's pretty
You're
much
not a football fan.
Yes. So I think we can all agree to that, and we have been pretty much dedicated in that matter as well. I think, talking about Nepalese football, I would like to add to something Amandai said, the craze in the local communities we can see. I was traveling to Adhikary, which is 800 kilometers far west from Kathmandu, and I was there, and there was a stadium. I think the capacity was like 8,000 or 9,000, but in the final, there were like 17,000 people there to see the two teams which came from Kathmandu. So I think we can pretty much agree that we have to find the places where the fans actually lie and try to bring it up and collect it as a collective and put it as as a unit. And I think it can really work in the development of football to come.
Yes, and the thing I will say is, Abhi, is the biggest change that's required, and this is not just in Nepal, this is in Indian football and the whole of South Asia, is they need to start seeing the players as assets and not slaves. Once they start treating the players as the most important element of any football community, any football club, and any national team, that's when they'll make progress at the quickest pace. And the reason is this. Let's go to the top of the world and talk about the Cristiano Ronaldos or the Lionel Messis of this world. Real Madrid, go and have a look at when Cristiano Ronaldo moved to Juventus. Go and have a look at the jump in social media, in the jump in the sales, shirt sales and merchandise sales when Cristiano Ronaldo joined Juventus. These guys are treated at that level as assets, whereas at the level that I see in India and the level that I see in Nepal and Bangladesh and these places, they're treated like slaves. They're on 9-month contracts. If they get an injury, their contracts are cut short. You know, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. The biggest asset that any team has, professional or semi-professional, is the talent that's in front of them, the talent that's on their pitch. Because you might have somewhere in Nepal or somewhere in India or somewhere in Bangladesh or Bhutan or Sri Lanka or any of the other countries, you might have a young Leo Messi. That's like a rough diamond. So wouldn't you treat that with respect?
True that, brother. True that.
True. I think he's muted. Yeah.
I cannot hear anything right now.
Bro, you are muted, Abhinav, bro.
Oh, okay. So I think we can all agree to what Joe has said, and it's really important that the professional players should be treated as professional players rather than anything else. And in that regard, I think Aman has to say something about it. The professional football in Nepal, the contract levels, or let's say the professionalism in Nepali football, I think you can relate it to Nepal as well.
See, I'm really worried when these players get injured. That's why when the contract has to be really scrutinized, we need to be clever on making contracts. The players need to be clever as well as the teams. They need to come up with certain plans when certain players get injured, right?
Correct.
This has to be sorted out, brother. This has to be sorted out. We need to be a little bit more professional now, because I can see that lots of sponsors are coming in, like they're getting good benefits as well. Lots of TV coverage is happening as well, and the salary of football players a little bit increasing as well. But it has to go beyond this now if we want a really good result. You invest in the local player, in the local tournament, then only you can dream of a national team winning any major championship. Invest in local, then you get result in the national.
I think it's pretty much true, Amandai.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you, Abhi. I'll give you an example. So Manas knows this as well because he was in Madrid with us. When we were there for the Clasico, Sandesh Jhingan, who is the vice captain of the Indian national team, joined us as part of our broadcast. Also with him was JJ, who I remember watching JJ when he was a youngster, and what a fabulous young striking talent he was. Then he picked up a very serious injury. Now, here's the thing, and this is absolutely correct what Amandai is saying. I have no doubt about the surgery and the standards of surgery in India in particular. I think it's just as good as anywhere else in the world for any kind of sports injuries. However, it's the rehabilitation process where they are sorely lacking. I don't think JJ has been at his peak since that injury. And when JJ went to Italy to do some training and some rehabbing with Sandesh Jhingan, the guys in Italy were telling him that what happened, they were asking him questions. I'm not going to go into the detail of it because I'm not a doctor, but that, things weren't quite right from his first injury. And I can't remember exactly when his first injury was, but it was I think it was about 12 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 10 years ago. So there is a fabulous talent, that hasn't quite been performing at the same level. And I'm just talking physically here. He's still a fabulous talent, but hasn't quite physically been the same because he wasn't rehabbed properly. He didn't receive the correct treatment. Now, I'll ask you this question. If JJ was a cricketer, what would they have done with him if he'd picked up a serious injury? They would have sent him to the best rehab specialists wherever they are in the world.
Yes.
Wherever they are in the world. So why not with football?
So that, I think that is an amount of priority you give to a certain sport that it will be developing in the future to come. And I think it's pretty much important that the rehabilitation of the players is equally as important to that of the treatment. And I think it's one thing Nepal has also been lacking. And also, I think in ISL as well, we can see a lot of good things happening, and lots of players are coming up from, let's say the best players are coming up from all around the globe. And it's quite an example to look up to. And, the amount of professionalism they have put it in the league. And I think it has pretty much inspired to do better, not only for India, but also for the countries around. I think it has been exemplary enough to influence and inspire every people around. And I think that is one department that India is really going good at, I think. Manas can, I think, explain more about it. Manas, I think, the amount of money put in, the amount of economy invested, the amount of investment there, I think it is something to look after. And in not only in the field, not only in the transfer market, not only in the advertisement boards, but also the things which happen behind the screen, right? So what do you think about it, Manas?
So I was saying we need to start treating our players as heroes, right? And as you said, ISL is not doing a good job of it. ISL is definitely doing a decent job of making our players stand out, making our players heroes of sorts. So when I talk about ISL, I'm talking about a couple of clubs in the ISL, a couple of clubs that come from cities that have a very good football culture. And by those, I mean a city like Goa or probably a city like Kerala. If you see the way Sandesh Jhingan, who is not even a Kerala player right now, I think he's a free agent. Sandesh Jhingan, the way he's treated by the fans of Kerala, he is a hero for the players, for the fans of Kerala Blasters. So ISL has done a super job of making these players heroes. And as you mentioned, these are the things that need to be done, right? You need to make our players heroes. You need to make the kids of Kerala look up to Sandesh Jhingan and say that one day I want to be like him. And then in addition to that, provide facilities to be like a Sandesh Jhingan. It is sad at this moment in time that like cricket is the primary sport of our country. But with ISL, we are definitely cutting the gap between football and cricket. So yeah, that's one thing that ISL is doing pretty well.
Of course, I think it has been quite remarkable that ISL is developing so much in that department. I think it's helping pretty much everybody around it. And I would like to go to Joe again. Joe, I think we can all agree that India is trying to catch up to that level of professionalism and, trying to bring out new things and, looking after the European leagues. And I think the following has been really good. How do you take it as, since you've been, one of your target groups has been India and lots of followers of you are from India. How do you take it as the development of fan culture, let's say, in that department? How has it been developing?
Well, it's developed. It's about identity, isn't it? I mean, look, here we are, the Real Madrid fan club of Nepal. Did the Real Madrid fan club of Nepal exist 10 years ago? Maybe it did. Maybe it was just, and Abinash will probably tell us the answer to this. Maybe it was in a very small form, a bunch of friends that, maybe messaged each other. What all of these platforms have done and what social media has done in particular is it's given the opportunity for the collective of all of those fans to get together and to expand and to become more organized and to become better, basically. So the fan culture has developed, and football. I think when I first started broadcasting to the Indian subcontinent, which was maybe 15 years ago, something like that, I think football was number 4 or number 5 in the sporting hierarchy, if you like. Obviously cricket was number 1, but certainly hockey and a number of other sports were above football. Now, I would say football is probably number 2. But the most important thing for me, and I hate talking about cricket, The thing for me is that football is a global game. It's played by every single country in the world. And that's why it's one of the best ways to project yourself and to let the world know who you are. Cricket is not a global game. I love rugby. It's not a global game either. But football is a global game. I mean, how many countries are there in the FIFA rankings? I think it's 198, is it? Or something like that. And there's 206 countries in the world. So there's only 8 countries that are not actual official FIFA countries for football. So it's so important, I think, for the identity of a country and for the pride of a country to be involved in football as a sport rather than cricket.
Yeah,
right. I think
I totally agree with you as well. I mean, in Nepal, like back in let's say 6 years ago, but like Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal has been established since 6 years ago. So before that, we were just basically a Facebook group. So where we used to meet and play football together. And then later our founding members actually decided that let's make it a group, let's make it big. And then we just started in Kathmandu actually like 6 years ago. And then later now, I mean, it's been crazy that our guest has been from all over Nepal. Like, I mean, they've been messaging us since like we have announced this membership package to those who can't actually go and afford the membership from Spain because due to different reasons that we can't make payment from Nepal, like we have to transact in euros, and especially with the Spanish language that Real Madrid use, it's really difficult to communicate. But what we are trying to do as a fan club here is like we are trying to connect everyone from all over Nepal, and not only from Nepal. I mean, it sounds crazy, but people have been messaging from international level as well, from USA. Wow. Those Nepalese who are living in USA, they are saying, "Can I have your membership card? Can we be the part of this club?" And then in 6 years, I think we have been growing like exponentially. I think we will keep growing, and all thanks to our fans here. I mean, I would like to give you an example about the fan following increasing. Like last month, we just started a group called RMFCN Official, actually, where we try to bring only Nepalese football fans, genuine football fans, by filtering their ID. And in 1 month, there are 1.2 thousand members, 1.2K members. So in 1 month, that means, you know, people are so much passionate about game here, and that we are trying to get registered in Spain as well. As in Real Madrid Fan Club, we have sent all documents. Thankfully, after 6 years of establishment, we have finally sent every document possible to get officially recognized from Spain, from Real Madrid. Now it will be processed within, I think, 30 days. It's been 15 days. They normally take 45 days to get registered. But the trouble we went through, I mean, to get official was all about passion, because we need to translate every Spanish document to English. So we had no idea about that. But thankfully, I met a guy in Melbourne here. We met a guy, actually, our president met a guy here in Melbourne, and he was the president of Melbourne Fan Club here in Melbourne. And then he was a guy who used to live just by Santiago Bernabeu. He was a Real Madrid follower since his birth. So what he actually did was he converted all the Spanish document to English, and he sent to us. So it was easy for us to, actually get registered and fulfill all the procedures. So what I think is football in overall, as you said, is a global game. What I personally experienced, it's all about getting us connected together, actually, because the guy I couldn't have met from Spain actually is helping us to get officially recognized as a Real Madrid fan club in Nepal. So I think the global game, I think, is football, and I hope we are going to keep it that way, and hopefully this pandemic will sort out soon, and then we can actually go back to the stadium and watch the game, and watch the game we love, and forget about it.
Well done,
Aman. Of course, the amount of effort you have put in for official making it official, it's been really, really great. And after getting the official registration, you guys are called Peña de Madrista, if I'm not wrong, right?
Peña Madridista de Nepal, because exactly. Real Madrid actually don't allow you to use the name Real Madrid for any fan club. So you have to be actually called Peña Madridista de Nepal. So we have to actually change our logo. We have to actually change our website. we developed the website as a RMFCN official, and then later they sent us an email saying you can't use the name Real Madrid at all. So that was really difficult. And actually,
so you changed it to Barcelona, did you?
But the thing was, it was a little bit hard. But what happened was there were many helpful hands. I mean, people from all over the world, actually, those who could afford the Madridista card, they actually bought it. And in 15 days, we got the members having almost 40 members who got the official Madridista card. And almost we got 500 members just from Nepal who is actually willing to be our members, and we could send that document to Spain. So just it's been crazy. I mean, this ride has been crazy, especially having you guys on the show as well and talk about football, because we basically started this show as a little get together for Real Madrid fans in Nepal, but it has turned out to be a whole international platform. So actually what we've done is we have invited the guests from actually our friends, fellow Madridistas from USA now, Lebanon recently, from India, from Bangladesh, from Philippines, so from all over the world. So what we are trying to do here is connect with Madridistas from all over the world, listen to their story, and also from our footballing idols here, because we have learned from watching you as well. So thank you very much for joining our show as well. Once again,
obviously it's quite been wonderful that, and I agree with Abinash. It's really hard for Nepali or let's say our Indian fans to follow European football. We have to wake up 1 a.m. at night, and the following day we might have college. I've missed lots of my college classes because of I had some late night games, and that is the situation we have in India and Nepal right now. Regardless of all that, we have such good fan base.
Exactly. Wait. Sure. You don't have to sit at 1 a.m. with Budgie.
But I know I'm pretty much used to it actually. But it's also because you are there, so I can only look at you.
1 a.m. But 1 a.m. with Budgie is
but we've been quite used to that, and we quite enjoyed. I think everybody in this discussion quite agrees that C2K or the other presentations, 10 Sports, or let's say other channels are put in. It's been quite remarkable for the informations we try to get about the sports, and we are trying to inherit that trend, inherit that philosophy of yours in our regular lifestyle as well. I think Abinash has pretty much stated about the discussions we are having with all the people around the globe, sharing informations, and whether it be about sports or regular lives. I think it's been quite remarkable that this has been happening, and like we all say, sports bring the world together, and I think it's been quite successful for Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal as well, which is hosting the show today. And I think you guys have really done quite a wonderful job. So I think I've got a message over here regarding the show's duration. So we are almost at the end of the show. I know Joe wants to talk a lot more, but we'll be doing other shows as well, and we'll be talking offline as well. And thank you, everybody. We are really glad that everybody joined. Joe Morrison from Dubai. We have Manas from India, Mumbai, and Aman from Kathmandu. Abinash is from Australia. So I think, like Joe said, the digital age has made this possible. We have to utilize as much as possible and try to bring everybody together as much as possible. And we have, the first step has been done. So thank you so much to everybody. So I would like to go with the final words. We'll start with you, Joe. How did you, like the show? How much did you have fun?
I've had a lot of fun. I've had more fun than I normally do with my colleagues.
Nice.
This is much more fun than I normally have with my professional colleagues. But hey, you know how Leo Messi feels at the moment, surrounded by talentless people. I've got to do it with Budgie and Kevin. It's an absolute nightmare. On a serious note, it's been an absolute joy. Thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And just remember, it's a global game.
Exactly. We cannot agree more with you, Joe. And I think if you get irritated with Baji and people, you can invite me and Amandai or even Manas and Abinash right there. We can be there in the show if the opportunity comes. Yeah. So if that can happen, if God provides us with that opportunity. So Manas, final words from you.
Thanks for having me here, man. And I am we on Facebook are definitely going to have a lot more interaction with RMFC Nepal or Penya Madrid the Nepal, as you guys are now known. And I'm very looking forward to talking to you guys next season as well, man.
Thank you so much, Manas, for being part of the show. Amandai, how did you like the show today, and how was the feeling today?
I'm so happy. I got to talk with, first of all, Joe directly over here. I cannot agree with you more. I've always been shouting alone. Yes, football is a global game, and that's why football has a World Cup, right? I do love rugby, as you said, because I studied in UK. I do love rugby. I do like cricket a little bit, like not much.
There might be some cricket fans over here. Right.
12 nations comes to play a game. 18 nations comes to play a game, and it's a World Cup. I asked them a question: is it a World Cup at all? Right? So hey, they might hate me, but still, okay. I love football, and football has always been my first love. It will always remain my first love. All right. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Manas. Thanks, everyone from Sydney to Dubai to India and Nepal. It's been a wonderful time.
Thank you so much for being part of the show. Avinash, your final words, since you are also the host, you're from the host team. So your final words regarding this show today that you have put in, and your opinions about the future.
And make it quick, Abinash, because we're now in injury time.
We are now in injury time right now. I think it's
Manchester United and use it properly, right?
I would love to be in the penalties, I would love to have the penalties right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Abinash,
it's been a dream come true, actually having everyone here, because we used to watch you guys live on TV and to talk with you live here, especially in Penya Madrid, the Nepal's Facebook page. I mean, it's been a wonderful journey. I mean, it was a wonderful show, and what I'm trying to do here is as well, like I've been trying to do the talk show with our Nepalese Madridistas as well. We are trying to bring them. We are trying to encourage actually female Madridistas as well, because we have seen a growth of a lot of female Madridistas in Nepal. I mean, I can't thank them enough as well. They have been superb for us as well. They have been participating in every event. Shout out to all the female Madridistas as well. And shout out to all the wonderful guests here. Shout out to all the viewers. It's been a dream come true. I mean, we always imagine that. We always imagine to bring you guys after a month. It's finally possible. I mean, I can't put it in words. I mean, I'm a specialist. Thank you, everyone. Thanks once again from me, from all the female fans, all the male fans, all the Madridistas from Nepal and all over the world. It's been a joy and pleasure to have you guys on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, especially to Joe, Manas, and Amandai and Avinash for being
Manas couldn't wait. Manas has left already. Couldn't wait.
Obviously, it's really been fun with you guys, and hope this opportunity comes again. Thank you so much to Reality Fans. So with that note, I would like to end this broadcast. Before I have a short quiz with the fans here. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much being the part of this show, and I would really love to do it again. If opportunities come, I would really love to. So thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Amandai. Thank you, Manas, and thank you, Abinash. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhi.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much. Right. So, guys, that was our discussion with our, really prestigious guest today. So that was our discussion. So it was really fun, I guess, and I think you had as much fun as I did. So after the extra time, we are going into the penalties right now, as stated by Joe. So penalties, I'm stating it as the quiz session we have planned with you guys. So we have a quiz session which is sponsored to us by MG Classico, which is a sportswear shop, and I think they have offered us a very special gift hamper. So to do the honors, I would start the quiz. it's called the fastest fingers first, like we do it in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the fastest finger first. So this is how it's done. I would ask you a question. So whoever gets the answer first will get the hamper. So I think you can see the comment section right here. Everybody is commenting right now, and I think it's time to, loosen up your fingers and start typing. So I will put in a question, and if anybody is knowledgeable about that, you can just type in and you can get the hamper from MG Classico. So this is the question for the fastest finger first. So the question is, which Real Madrid player has the most number of appearances for Real Madrid? The question again, which Real Madrid player has the most number of appearances for Real Madrid? Fastest finger first is activated right now. And I think I have a winner right now. There has been a comment made by, I have to find it. It's really coming fast. I cannot find it. Okay, I found the winner. Okay, I found the winner. So the winner for the fastest finger first is Sabi Dotel. Sabi Dotel has put in the right answer. It is Raul Gonzalez. Raul Gonzalez has played from 1994 to 2010 with 550 league appearances, 37 cup appearances, 132 appearances in Europe, and other appearances 22. Total number of 741 appearances by Raul Gonzalez, and that is the right answer. So congratulations to Sabi Dotel for winning the camper. You can contact us in our official Facebook page, that is by Real Madrid Fans Club Nepal, or let's say Pena de Madrista Nepal. We have official Facebook page. You can contact us there with your information, with your identification. We'll be providing you or sending you the hamper. So that was the broadcast for today. I really think you had fun as much as I did. And if you have any queries, or if you have any, suggestions for us in days to come, we will be really, really delighted that we have to improvise in days. It's really obvious that there were some flaws. It's the first time we're doing. There were lots of scramble things, but I think overall it was a good show and you guys had fun. So on that note, I would like to end the show. Thank you so much for being the part of the show, and I would like to thank the Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal for providing me the opportunity. It was also being aired in Nepal Sports. Nepal Sports is a media which I am also related with, so I am involved in this broadcast. So I would like to thank especially to Abinash and Vishal, who is the president of the Real Madrid Fan Club Nepal. It's also his birthday, so happy birthday to Vishal, and it's for the days to come. I would like to give him good wishes for that. So with that note, I would like to end the show. In coming days, we'll be doing lots of other things with lots of new people. For today, it's the end of the show. So thank you so much and good evening.